Investigative reporter and organized crime expert Hank Messick thinks he has some information the state's Casino Control Commission ought to have. That information concerns Clifford Pearlman, the top man at Caesars, and Alvin Malnik, a Miami attorney Pearlman has done business with. Malnik has denied that he knows reputed underworld figure Meyer Lansky. But Messick says he has information that Malnik actually worked for Lansky. And Messick thinks the Casino Control Commissioners ought to have that information as they hear the case for Caesars Boardwalk Regency Casino in Atlantic City. Recently, reporter John McLaughlin talked with Messick.
Despite all the newspaper allegations about Meyer Lansky, all the reports about Lansky and books, and all this stuff that you say is on the record about Alvin Malnik, it still seems to me difficult to find a smoking gun to prove a precise tie between Malnik and Lansky. Now, is there anything on the record anywhere to prove that those two people are Confederates and associates?
Well, I can give you one example from a sworn statement by Seymour Alder. It was a deposition taken from Mr. Alder at his residence in Coconut Grove, Florida at 7:10 p.m. on January the 29th, 1974, relative to the income tax liability of C.G. Rebozo, BB, and so forth. So this was taken by the IRS. Way over here somewhere they asked him the question. They asked Alder. Now, Alder at that time had been working for Huntington Hartford in the Bahamas. Huntington Hartford had owned Hog Island, which later became Paradise Island, and he was trying to get a permission for a gambling casino there. And because he wasn't playing ball with the mob, they wouldn't give him the permission. And so he had hired, and this is a matter of record, he had hired Alvin Malnik to help him get permission to do what was necessary. So Mr. Alder was also working for him. So they asked for Huntington Hartford the question, do you know Meyer Lansky? He says, no. Have you ever met him? Once. When? Back in the period when we were trying to get a casino license for the Bahamas. Was he interested in purchasing any interest in Paradise Island? He didn't say so to me, no. What did he say to you, and in what connection did you meet him? Well, I think I'd better perhaps tell you the circumstances involving it. A man came over to me at the Ocean Club. I wouldn't have no idea of the dates at this point, and he said he understood we were desirous of getting a casino license. I said, yes, we were. He said he thought he could get one for us. Would I be interested? I said, yes, of course. I would be interested. But to be honest with him, I said, this particular gentleman was quite young in appearance to begin with, and I said I've run into a lot of people that made the same claim that turned out to be nonsense. And I wouldn't be really interested unless he could further satisfy me that what he said was true. He could have. He said, would I be willing to come to Miami? I said, I don't particularly want to go to Miami, only if he could convince me that whoever I'm talking to, I would feel could get us a gambling license. He said, all right, he'll get back to me. And he got back to me within 2 hours. And he said, be on the early morning plane to Miami. I think it was an 8 a.m. flight. I sort of balked. I didn't like the idea of getting up that early. I said, are you sure? He said, you will be more than satisfied that the person you meet would be able to get you a gambling casino license. I said, all right. I took the 8 o'clock flight. The man that had been talking to me in Paradise Island was Al Malnik, by the way. He met me at the airport and drove me to a restaurant in Miami Beach called Woofy's. He walked me to a table, and there was a gentleman sitting there. I was introduced to him. What's his name? Meyer Lansky. To Meyer Lansky. I knew he was Meyer Lansky. I sort of recognized from the pictures in the papers that he was the same person. The young man said, that's Malnik, Mr. Lansky, this gentleman is part of Paradise Island. He's interested in getting a gambling casino license. Mr. Lansky looked at me and said, are you? And I said, I hope. I was nervous. I said, I hope I'm not insulting anyone, but to be perfectly honest, I don't think Mr. Hartford or his lawyers would allow any sort of negotiations with you in any manner or form. And I hope you're not taking it personally, but I think I'll have to stand on that. It didn't bother him at all. He said, all right, all right. He went out. Malnik drove me back to the airport, and I went back to Paradise Island, and I think I told it to Hartford right away. So there you have this sworn testimony that this guy wanting a casino license was taken by Alder was taken by Malnik to see Meyer Lansky as the man who could get it for him. And of course he could.
This is the same Seymour Walter, I presume, who was in the employ of Resorts International.
Later on, yes.
Both in the Bahamas.
After they got after Hartford couldn't get the license, but Paradise, the Mary Carter Paint Company, which became Resorts International, did get it and built this huge casino on Paradise Island, and Seymour went to work for him.
Clifford Perlman of Caesars has said under oath that he didn't know at the time of his association with Malnik that Malnik was a reported confidant of Meyer Lansky.